Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of Kids Talk Hockey. And in this one, we are not interviewing anybody. We will be doing our assessment on the four trades that have happened in the past month. There are four trades. All four of them, in our opinions, were big, and we will go over them. So I will be talking about the players in depth and their history, like their past careers, and how they're doing this season and how this all translates into what Max will be talking about the trade and scope of the whole team. So we will start from the trade that happened first, which is the Kasperi Kapanen trade. And I call this the Kasperi Kapanen trade because he was the biggest prospect or the biggest person in this whole deal. But we will not be talking about him first. We will be talking about what was sent to the Leafs in the package deal. So to highlight the full trade, the trade was to Toronto, the 15th overall pick in the 2020 NHL draft, Evan Rodrigues, Philip Hollander, and David Warsofsky. To the Pittsburgh Penguins, we get Kasperi Kapanen, Jesper Lindgren, and Pontus Aberg. So let us talk about Evan Rodrigues, who is the first player in this deal. I'll talk about the pick after we talk about all the players that were sent to Toronto. Evan Rodrigues, he's an interesting person. He went undrafted. He's 27 years old, born July 28, 1993 in Toronto. He played 2 seasons of Junior A in Georgetown. In his last season, in 37 games, he had 21 goals, 33 assists, 54 points. That is great. He then moved to Boston University and he turned on the Jets in his last season, 41 games, 21 goals, 40 assists for 61 points. That is really good. He was not drafted, and he moved right into the AHL where he seemed like an immediate impact player. He put up 30 points in 72 games, 9 of which were goals, 21 assists. He was called up to the Buffalo Sabres for 2 games and had a goal and an assist. And his best season in the NHL was in 2018-19, where in 74 games, 9 goals, 20 assists, 29 points. He would be more of a depth player for the Toronto Maple Leafs, probably fourth liner, maybe third liner if they want to experiment. But he's a depth player. He can contribute on the depth side, and he will definitely be a great help to the Maple Leafs. The next player I'll talk about is David Warsofsky, and he's another interesting case. He was a 4th-round pick, 95th overall, in the 2008 draft to the St. Louis Blues, and he's pinged around a lot. But the thing about him is that he's only gotten into 55 NHL games, put up 2 goals, 9 assists for 11 points. That's not that good. The problem, the issue that I see is he's really good in the AHL. In this past season with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, in 51 games, he put up 10 goals, 23 assists for 33 points as a defenseman. And keep in mind, defensemen don't score a lot. And he wasn't called up at all this year. So this was a big jump. And this was a big jump for Warsofsky because in last season with the Colorado Eagles, in 51 games, he had 32 points, 5 goals, 27 assists. He has played in the World Junior Championship back in 2010 and in 7 games, 2 assists, 2 points. So that's pretty good. But he's probably only an AHL player if the Maple Leafs really need a defender quickly, they can call him up, but I doubt he'll be any good for them as of right now. And the most intriguing player that was sent to Toronto was Philip Hollander. And he's intriguing because he's only 20 years old. He was born in 2000, and he was the 2nd-round pick in the 2018 draft. He is Swedish, and He has played in the World Junior Championships this past year, 5 games, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points. And he uh, and currently in the Swedish league in 27 games, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points. So he's really good, especially in the Swedish league, which does not score well at all. It is a very low scoring league. It is very slower. It is much slower pace. He's very intriguing. He's a center, but he'll definitely make the NHL sooner or later. Definitely will play some games for the Leafs, and he could become a star. And as for the 15th overall pick, we can't really tell because it's Magic Beans. There's the goalie Yaroslav Askarov. He's turning out to be really good. 15th overall. There's some other guys. Amarov. He sounds like he could be 15th. But it would just be up to development and up to the team and the player to figure out if he could be really good in the NHL. So, Max, what is your opinion on how the Toronto Maple Leafs, or what the Toronto Maple Leafs got in return?
I think this is kind of a hard one to decide who won because I like what the Penguins are doing. They're trading like draft picks for proven prospects that they know are going to play well. Like taking some of these guys that have had success are smarter than maybe taking a guess with a 15th overall pick. But now the Penguins, their first selection isn't even in the first 2 rounds. Their first selection is the third, and it's in the 3rd round. Which, if you want to improve your prospects in the draft this year, it's not the best idea. But Toronto's kind of in a phase right now where they're not yet really contenders and they're not really rebuilders. They're trying to get some more pieces. And I think for them, that first round pick is a great option because otherwise they wouldn't have had one if they didn't make that trade. I think Toronto made the right decision here, adding on a few prospects, and that first round pick I think is going to be huge this year. If they end up going with Askarov, I don't know why they would when they have a guy like Freddie Anderson, but we'll see what they do. So I think Toronto won this one.
Yeah, and a cool stat I learned is that from 2014 to 2020, the Pittsburgh Penguins have only picked in the first round twice.
Wow.
The latest was in 2019, where I forgot who they picked, but they picked a player, obviously, in the first round, but it was in the later round. And in 2014, they picked Kasperi Kapanen, who we will talk about right now. Literally, the best definition I can explain for this trade is listen to the song by Post Malone, Circles, and it's literally like run away, but we're running in circles, which literally describes what happened to Kasperi Kapanen, drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round in 2014, and immediately got traded to the Maple Leafs, where he became a great impact player. And he was developed the old-fashioned way through grit, hard work. He won a Calder Cup with the Toronto Marlies a few years ago. And he was developing fantastically. He does have some personality issues on account of Sheldon Keefe scratched him because he was late to practice one day, and he overslept. But this past season, in 69 games, he put up 13 goals, 23 assists for 36 points. Okay, in the previous season, 18-19, 78 games, 20 goals, 24 assists, 44 points. So the thing is, his goal production is a bit lower, but his assist production is higher, which is what you want out of him. Another thing is he's really fast. He can definitely draw attention. He scores a lot of goals with his speed, but sometimes his puck handling isn't as fast as his skating, which could be the problem. But it sounds really good, and Kasperi Kapanen will definitely be a great impact player for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Definitely will be at worst 3rd-line winger, at best 2nd-line winger. He can play first line, but he doesn't really play well. We saw that in Toronto with Matthews and Marner. There wasn't much chemistry. He could have been put with a line of Mikheyev and Tavares, but that also didn't really work out. So the third line was actually really great for him. Uh, yeah, and the other two players were basically sweeteners. Pontus Aberg, second round pick in 2012. He's playing in the KHL now. It was just a rights move. He's playing in Tractor Chelyabinsk. He's actually playing in right now. So in 3 games, he has 1 assist. So that's pretty nice. He played in 5 games with the Maple Leafs, got 1 assist, and with the Marlies, the AHL affiliate of the Maple Leafs, 55 games, 20 goals, 24 assists, and 44 points. So pretty good production. He's probably not going to make the Penguins roster, and if it was, it would just be depth piece. Jesper Lindgren is another one which I'm really intrigued about. 4th round pick, 95th overall in 2015 NHL draft. He played in the SM Liga in Sweden a few years back, and this year this was his first full season in the AHL. In 31 games, 1 goal, 8 assists, and 9 points, and he's a defender, right-handed shot defender to boot. So he should actually probably just be an AHL piece, but because it's Pittsburgh, they seem to turn out talent for everyone. So I'm really excited to see what's going to become of him, but honestly, the expectations are really low for him. So Max, your opinion on the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then who won this trade in your opinion?
Getting back to the Penguins, I'm a little bit shaky with what they're doing here. Like, not only are they pretty much throwing away a first round pick, and they're only drafting 60 something overall or 70 something overall. They also lost a bit over $1 million here in cap space. So if they're trying to go big with a free agent like Kruger, Pietrangelo, or trying to make a move on Murray and re-sign him, they're not really taking a step in the right direction. Like, if you lose Murray, you have maybe an NHL backup and an AHL starter playing, and I don't really like what Pittsburgh's doing here. But Toronto thinks the complete opposite. They're trying to get out of this rebuild phase, and they have some troubles in the first round. But adding some of these guys, I think it's just gonna make it much better for them. I like what they're doing with that first round pick, and this is a question for you as a Leafs fan. Do you think they should draft a forward or a defenseman or a goalie with this pick?
As a half Leafs fan and half Rangers fan, I have to go my Leafs side. And like I said, there's this really good goalie, Yaroslav Askarov. He seems to be like some star. But it could be anyone. I'd prefer a right-handed defenseman because, as everyone keeps saying, our defense on the right side is not good enough. And yeah, we traded Kadri for Barry, and Barry's on the third pair. Yeah, we might need a right-handed shot defenseman. But yeah, so switching gears over to a different trade, which is Jake Allen and a 2022 7th round pick for a 2020 3rd round pick and a 2020 7th round pick. There isn't really much to talk about. We're not really going to talk about the picks because those are Magic Beans, and those aren't really it's not even the 1st or 2nd round, so we don't even know who they're going to draft. But I will spend a little bit of time with Jake Allen, 2nd round, 34th overall in the 2008 NHL draft, paid his dues in the QMJHL, went over to the AHL and was a great help for the Peoria Rivermen. In his last full season in the AHL before his first call up to the NHL, 38 games, 13 wins, 20 losses, 2 ties, but a .915 save percentage, but a 2.93 goals against average, so that's not too good. And he's been an NHL player for as long as we can remember, from 2014 up until now. This year in 29 games, he has 14 wins, 7 losses, and 4 OT losses. And he's sitting on a .927, which is really good, and a 2.15 goals against average, which is also really good. So with Montreal, they could definitely use him as a backup or even just as an AHL starter. And then, like I said before, the picks could be Magic Beans, could be like a Johnny Gaudreau, or could just be a bum who's just not going to play in the NHL. We never know. Uh, but yeah, that's basically all we have to say with Jake Allen. But it kind of sucks that he's leaving the St. Louis Blues because he spent over 10 years with them and he's won a cup with them. But I mean, the NHL is a market where no one stays unless you're like special, really special, and you're just gonna stay for one club the entire time. But this is a market where many players get flipped upside down, and one day you walk in as a St. Louis Blue, and the other day you walk out as Montreal Canadian. So Max, who do you think won the trade, and talk about each team, how they're doing?
Yeah, as a little bit of a Canadiens fan, I'm a little bit scared of what they're doing here. They have such good goalies in their system, like Primo and Lindgren and McNevin and Kincaid, and I could keep going on. I'm not sure why they're making this trade, but I kind of like it in a way because Allen has had so much experience, as you said, playing in the Western Conference, winning the Cup with the Blues too, even if it was as a backup behind Binnington. Um, Montreal tends to struggle against Western Conference teams, and they could usually beat Atlantic Division teams. So I think this is only going to help. You know, Price doesn't really have too many bad games, but it's always good to switch him up, give him a little bit of a break. I don't think anyone expected them to go this far as they did in the playoffs this year. Even making it into that first round is pretty big for them, and winning a game against the Flyers too. So I think that's a great, pretty good postseason for them. And imagine having a guy like Allen who has a lot of Western Conference experience. I think this is a great trade. And it's not like Montreal's giving out any player up. They're giving it out a third round pick. They still have a third round pick this year. They actually have 3 second rounds, 3 fourth rounds. So they have a pick, at least one pick in every round, including 3 second round picks. We've seen some crazy players and NHL legends go in the second round. So really like with Montreal, what Montreal's doing with their draft class this year and what they're doing in that building up all these goalies. But I do think I might be smart to maybe trade off guys like Lindgren and McNevin off for maybe another late round pick for in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And the shocking thing is Montreal's doing so well, but they have so many picks. Like they could trade them for good players.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just like good development by the GM of the Canadiens. And yeah, switching over to our next trade, we have Nick Bjugstad going to the Minnesota Wild for a conditional 7th round pick. Okay. The reason it costs a 7th round pick is because it's salary retained. I believe it is 50% salary retained by the Penguins. And in this year, Nick Bjugstad was injured. He only got into 13 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. His best season in the NHL was in 2017-18, 82 games, 19 goals, 13 assists, 49 points. So when he's healthy, he's money in the bank for 20 goals, at least 15. And he can definitely produce an assist. And I believe it's a great pickup for the Wild. He could be an immediate impact player on their second line. And he's only 28. And I only say only because the Minnesota Wild is an aging team with Koivu, Parise, and Suter, and Dubnyk. They're going to need some more young blood on their team. And Nick Bjugstad can provide with goals and assists. And the 7th round pick, again, Magic Beans. And it's conditional. I believe, I'm not even sure of the conditions, but it really doesn't matter because it's only 7th. So yeah, personally, I believe the Wild killed this trade. What about you, Max?
I like this trade for Penguins because they lost a little bit over $1 million with the first trade that we talked about earlier. And now with this trade, they're getting $2 million back. So overall in these trades, they're freeing up about $1 million, which goes back to helping and re-sign Murray hopefully for them. So I like it for there. I think both teams win this. Minnesota needs Bjugstad, and I think he could really help them. And Penguins don't need him, and they can always improve their draft class. I don't know why they'd go with a conditional draft pick. I think they could have maybe just got a regular one. It's not even this year; it's next year. So we're not going to see player pick this year. Penguins are kind of helping. The Penguins are now team, and you got a few of these teams in the league, like the Bruins. Bruins are not a team that should try to win a cup in 5 years. They want to win a cup this year, and I think Penguins are like that. So I think both teams will win, but I think if I have to pick one team, I think Minnesota wins this.
Yeah, definitely. But there is kind of an excuse for the Penguins because they did get Kasperi Kapanen. So getting Kasperi Kapanen kind of fills the shoes of Nick Bjugstad, and Kapanen has better production. But anyway,
Bjugstad's contract is.
Yeah. And our last trade, which came out yesterday evening, was Joel Edmondson to the Montreal Canadiens and going to the Carolina Hurricanes, a 2020 fifth-round pick, which is magic beans, like I always say. It's lottery. You could get a bust, you could get a star, you could just get an AHL player, you could get an NHL player. You never know. But with Joel Edmondson, he definitely provides that grit on the back end. This year in 68 games, he had 7 goals, 13 assists, 20 points and he had 72 penalty minutes. So he does provide that grit and leadership skills. Second round pick in the 2011 NHL draft. He's only 27. I didn't know he was only 27. Yeah, but anyway, so
sounds a lot older.
He's only going to get better because this season was by far his best. The one before that was 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points in 2017-18 with the Blues. So this year was a big jump in production, and I think Montreal just gained a great defender. And St. Louis definitely lost this one because they weren't doing any other trades. So yeah, personally, I believe the Blues won this trade. Max, your opinion?
So I think it's a little bit of strange here. I think what the Canadiens are doing here is we need Edmondson. We don't need that 5th round pick, and I can't think of one 5th round pick that comes right into the NHL within even the first 3 years. So I think Montreal pretty much walked away with the freebie here. And that's a 140 overall pick. So I can kind of see both sides on this. If you ever watched the Habs game, you could see how weak their defense is. They got Weber, Sherratt, Mate. That's it. If they have to have AHL players come up and play against the Philadelphia Flyers in the first round of the NHL playoffs, that's a little bit sad. And having an experienced guy, a cup winner like Edmondson on Montreal is, kind of a help. It's kind of a help, a little bit. He's not like a veteran, but he's experienced and does have a lot of NHL experience. Now, Carolina with this pick, it's a 5th round. It's a 5th rounder. They're still not drafting in the 6th round, but I mean their draft class this year is kind of good. They got the Rangers 2nd round pick and the Sabres 3rd round pick. Yeah, overall, I think Edmonton's a big win for Montreal. If you watch any of their games, they could use a guy like Edmondson versus Carolina, who has 8 great defensemen who could start on any D pair of any team in the league. So I think both teams win here. I don't know why Carolina wants a 5th round pick because I can't see them doing anything really good with it. I think Montreal wins this trade. I'm trying not to be biased here. Now, they still have to sign him for him to even be on the team this year, and hopefully they will. But if they do sign him, and hopefully for less than $3 million, huge win for Montreal in the offseason.
Yeah, definitely. So that wraps up our video about the first 4 trades, and this video might actually become outdated if there's another trade today. We'll make another video shortly on the next 4 or 5 trades whenever they happen. And please comment if we missed anything and if we should have talked about anything, and we'll definitely try to talk about in the next video. So that's about it. See you guys.